My name's Jason. I spend most of my time talking to brands about their most high-value audiences, helping them understand what's unique about them, and why that's important and how they can use that. So we're going to talk a little bit more today about how sometimes that realization is very unexpected, but why it shouldn't be ignored. All right, so on the right-hand side of your screen, you've got Ozzy Osbourne, famous rocker, if you're not familiar with him. Some call him the Prince of Darkness. And on the left side of your screen, you've got King Charles, formerly a prince. When he was still prince, this actually was a better analogy, but we'll work on it. The newly anointed king of England. So this is where we are today as an industry. This is the currency that most ad platforms transact on when we're talking about audience. So we call this the demographic layer. These are basic demographics, things like gender, age, geography, basic information around kind of their socioeconomic status. And you can see how two very different people can be seen as a very similar identity when looking at it through this sort of lens. Now, a lot of brands are looking at this from a new way of thinking, which we like to call the interest and intent layer. So this goes a bit of a step further and moving beyond those basic demographic similarities and understanding a little bit more about who these people actually are, what they're interested in, what activities they do, and what really makes them unique and more human that might not necessarily have anything to do with the specific product or service that a brand is trying to reach out and touch them on. All right, so let's see this in practice a little bit. We're going to get a little bit interactive here, make it a little bit more real for you guys. So I'm going to give you real examples of a product, and I'm going to have you guys guess around what's been actually measured as a top interest for someone that has actually purchased this product within, say, the last 30 days or so. So does anyone have an interest to throw out for someone who's purchased a high-end dog collar? These dog collars have GPS tracking. They're super, super advanced. People that love things like the outdoors use them to keep their dogs kind of fenced in. Anyone have any guesses? Hunting? Okay. We're getting there, but not quite. What's a good guess? Sorry?
Child-free. Child-free.
Okay, that's a smart one. Not quite. I'll take one more.
Dogs. That makes
Dogs.
sense.
Generic. That's very obvious. I'll take it. So top interest that was measured in this case was paddleboarding. So I've actually seen dogs on paddleboards before with their humans. So this one kind of resonated with me. But it makes sense kind of the outdoor aspect. But this is a very specific interest that this brand can then use to try and create a community or understand a subgenre. If anyone was here yesterday and listened to the JBL presentation about how they were able to understand that subgenre or that subculture of skiing, this is the same process that's being applied here through this same methodology. All right, so our next one is a glucose monitor. So this is a product that's made for folks that have type 1 diabetes. They need to monitor their levels for blood sugar, so that they can kind of dose their insulin out correctly. Anyone have any guesses? This one's a little tougher.
Some sport, like triathlons or something.
Okay,
Yes.
getting close. One more.
Cooking.
Cooking, that's smart, right? You gotta be careful with what kind of recipes in your sugar intake. Fingernails, this was a weird one. So, we learned from the client here that people with type 1 diabetes often have to, there's a lot of side effects with kind of either jaundicing or coarseness in their fingernails. So there's a lot of more high care nail care that gets done to kind of keep up with it, to kind of offset some of the effects of that disease. All right, last one, life insurance.
Having a baby.
Okay, smart life event, right? You need insurance for that? Anyone else? Buying a home? Getting close. That's actually a really good one. I'll take one more. Sports? Okay. I like this one a lot because life insurance, not really a physical product that you can see, right? It's this wonderful umbrella, this wonderful safety net. And the physical manifestation of that would be some home surveillance system, home security, home camera. It's got the same intended effect, right? It's there to protect you and your families for peace of mind and safety and for you to be able to have a wonderful future. This is a physical product that fits that same need of a service. All right, so now that we've cemented this a little bit, I'm gonna hand it over to Aman that's gonna talk about how brands can actually leverage this old adage of expecting the unexpected.
We started this company in COVID 3.5 years ago. There was no human interaction. There was no way to meet people. Me and my co-founders were kind of sick and tired of our jobs, and we wanted to give back to the community an ecosystem and a platform that allowed you to see and know your consumers in a human way. We wanted to humanize the data that is currently available, but do it responsibly. So how can you find out what your brand, what any brand's customers or consumers, sometimes there's a difference, who are they? What do they like to do? What are they into without invading their privacy, without going down to the row level, without exchanging any PII, without exchanging so-called first-party data? How can we, in a responsible manner that is GDPR, CCPA, non-PII, uncover passions, interests of your customers so that you can get to know them better? This discovery is what we term as consumer intelligence, because in our eyes, insights without activation or without actually an action are useless. It's like putting money inside a mattress. It doesn't grow. It doesn't get any interest. But if you can unpack your own customer cohorts deterministically based off their social media and web behavior without invading their privacy at a cohort level, you can then forget the GDPR, CCPA, iOS tracking issues, HIPAA compliance. If you can overcome all of that with the technology that you can then use to activate into almost every ecosystem, so as to find these non-intuitive, unrelated interests that you will now know about your cohort of customers. Know the difference between the people that are today your customers and those that have churned, or those that window shop on your site or come to your site and don't perform an action versus those that have a high LTV. Imagine being able to look at each of these cohorts, know the difference between them. The example that was used, King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne. On the onset, they might belong to the same audience segment, but believe it or not, those two cohorts, if we were to create cohorts of them, they have very different interests. How do you target them separately? How do you find more people like them? How do you write unique content for them? How do you build creative around them? All driven through various LLMs that we can now create. So the activation is one part of it, but the other part of it is how do we then take that activation and personify it? How do we create personas so that we can then have you engage with all your customers in an LLM trained with just your customers' data? That's exactly what we bring to the table, but we don't stop there. The last part is once you activate, almost all platforms will not allow you to optimize at a granular level or an interest level, and not because they don't want you to, it's just because that's traditionally how they want you to incentivize you to spray and pray or prospect broadly. We believe in the opposite. We believe that if you know your customers better and you know their interests, you'll be able to uniquely reach out to that sliver of clients that is important to you. And while I can come here and talk about all of this, I think it's very important that we bring this back to an actual set of use cases. And we introduced to you a client or a set of clients that has done this across multiple accounts at Razorfish. And we're very grateful to have Erica here. But this is what we've done for some of our clients, and you'll hear from some of our clients to come later on today about the intersection of perhaps sports and life insurance. You're going to hear, as you did from some of our other, from our colleagues from yesterday. I remember Jen from Ford saying the intersection of what customers are interested in, what are they doing today that we can learn from at Ford to then find the right avenue to advertise to them. We also heard yesterday that there was an intersection of gaming in Roblox and Venti, which had to do with fashion. The two were semi-unrelated or completely unrelated. How do you find the correlation between the unrelated of your customers and the brands and the partnerships that you should have? And nothing signifies this better than an actual use case or set of use cases that Erica has brought to the table with the help of consumr.ai. So over to you, Erica.
Thank you. Just a quick intro. I'm Erica Archer. I've been with Razorfish for 8 years. And Razorfish, I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about us and what we do and why this partnership works. So we were founded on the prediction that everything that can be digital will be. And our mission is really simple. It's connecting brand performance, brand purpose to business performance. But today, performance is really challenged. We're facing the death of cookies, more data ownership, walled gardens, privacy regulation. Customers are opting out of mobile data sharing, and they're clearing their data regularly. So in order to combat these headwinds, we have 3 key priorities that lead our clients forward. First and foremost, understanding people deeply. It's more important than ever that we make an impact with our audience and understand when and where we can make that impact. So everything we do starts with understanding people. Charting a cookieless future is important. Yes, the goalposts have continued to get moved. We've been talking about this for years. It's almost a meme at this point. But we're still working with our clients to wean them off third-party cookie data and make sure that we're creating more durable data connections for them to target more effectively and move forward without cookies. And then lastly, next-gen AI-enabled media. So I know AI is the big buzzword we're probably going to hear a lot over the next couple of days. But at Razorfish, we've developed a framework that allows us to adopt generative AI across a multitude of things such as QA, automation, content creation and ideation, cross-channel optimization, and also what we're here to talk about today, discovering unknown insights and ways that we can reach our consumer. So from here, I think we just want to spend a few minutes talking about how we've been able to do that. We want to start with the healthcare network that we've worked with.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the results that this was able to drive. So we worked actually really closely on this project together, but you brought up a specific challenge to our team that we were able to help you with. What was that challenge?
Yep, so working with health services is really challenging because of HIPAA compliance, right? There are a lot of things that you cannot target, that you cannot do. You can't target people based on any of their maybe afflictions or disease. We have gone so far as to remove pixels from sites. So data is super limited in today's healthcare world. And we needed to find a way to target our audiences and still be HIPAA compliant and still have success.
What was the strategy that you guys took to overcome that challenge?
So we used consumr.ai, and we had to do this because we needed to uncover new ways to target and find new niche audiences that we hadn't thought of yet. So obviously we target healthcare and health and wellness content because that makes sense. That's the industry that we're in. But what we were able to find was those audiences obviously have many other interests, things like finance and cosmetics, which we never would have thought to target within the healthcare space. So on top of that, we were able to use this information from the platform for other things like competitive intelligence. We were able to figure out what our competitors were doing and how we could combat that. We went so far as to understand where our audience was using consumr.ai and apply that to where we have out-of-home placements. And then we also are able to figure out where to enter social conversations through the social listening aspects of the platform as well.
Were any of those interests surprising to you guys or the client? How did the client react when you said, hey, hospital, target beauty and finance?
Yeah, target cosmetics and finance. They were surprised but interested, and we did it, and it worked. So it's really helpful to have a client that's open to new ideas, and despite it being very unexpected interests, it was very, successful for us as a brand. I think the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do like to point out too that this wasn't a reducing cost per appointment. You do tests and they take like 3 to 6 months and you hope the results come out. This was in weeks. So we activated within minutes, within weeks, we're seeing ridiculously good performance, tapping into those interests that we never would have thought of before. Let's talk financial services.
Let's chat. What do you want to know?
Yeah, so I know that we were looking to improve lead quality here, but what was the specific challenge that we wanted to address?
Yeah, so when I've worked with financial services clients, they're all almost looking at the same thing. Because it's very difficult to kind of impact the quality of the lead as it comes in. You're trying to understand what the markers are for a lead as it comes in, which is your last really user-initiated action, to help determine what's going to give you the highest lifetime value out of that client, whether it's an investment product, an insurance product, the whole gambit. So we're trying to help this client understand what exactly that qualified lead audience looked like that they knew was going to result in a high lifetime value customer. So that's things like staying for a certain amount of time, doing cross-sell of different products across their portfolio. And they really wanted to understand that consumer profile and scale it out a little bit more because they were really struggling on how to not just define it, but then build upon it and activate it within the marketplace to drive more of those folks.
How did you drive more of those folks?
Yeah, so this was a really good opportunity. They had a really rich data set of what that first party audience already looked like. They were able to onboard that into their own ad platforms using a data onboarder. We aren't a data onboarder, so we didn't have to really go through that process with them. But they already had it in a format where we could actually read it from the ad platforms themselves and tell them some of these really unique things about those interests that was able to help them provide adjacent scale to the campaigns that they are already using to target that audience directly. And this came with some really interests that they were a little hesitant to work with at first, some really specific ones. But if you think about someone that's like really high value in terms of their income level, really high performers are the type of people that they were looking at here, you start to understand this interest profile and think that it makes a little bit more sense. These people were looking for furthering their education through master classes, learning about investment opportunities like passive income, keeping their bodies strong with strength training, and rewarding themselves with things like boutiques or understanding what's in vogue from a fashion perspective. So they really started to kind of agree once they saw the results that not just going out and targeting all these different like finance interests or contextually targeting people that are researching all these different investment products, well, that has definitely a place within their portfolio. This certainly is a way to help them scale it out to the level that they needed to drive more high quality leads.
Yeah, which we did at a lower cost.
Yeah,
Awesome.
this was great.
Awesome. That wraps. We do have a couple minutes for questions if anyone has.
Yeah, so I would encourage anyone, either now or if you want to come up and talk to us after, if you have a specific problem that you're trying to solve, we would love to hear about it and see what we can do. Whether you have an audience that you're looking to learn more about, whether it's your own, a competitor, a third-party segment, there's lots of ways that we can do this. If you want to learn more, you can scan this QR code up here. This is going to give you access to ways to talk to us, ways to learn more about what it actually is, and something that's super, super exciting. Something that we're just revealing right now, what we're calling the AI Twin. It's a new product that we're releasing. Think about this as a way to talk directly to your customer or an audience that you've built conversationally, similar to how you might interact with the GPT, which is really exciting. We're thinking about it as a way to supplement your ability to talk to focus groups or surveys using this new data set.
Yeah.
Great, thanks everyone.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Have a great conference.